Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more. Don't forget to click the bell if you like the video.
Hello guys, I have John here. He has a lot of hiking miles under his belt and he has hiked the Appalachian Trail and a lot of mountains in and around Georgia. And he has done day hiking, night hiking and all the stuff. So I asked him to volunteer to do some videos on the basics of hiking, what we need when we go for hiking and what we need to look out for. So I'm just introducing John to our subscribers. Hey John.
Hey.
Good.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess, probably been a hiker for more than a decade now. I've done the Appalachian Trail from, the southern end all the way into, 15 miles into North Carolina. I'm, I guess what you call a short section hiker. I usually do anywhere from 2 to 5 days at a shot. I've also done the Benton MacKaye. I'm looking for new trails, so if anybody has any recommendations, please feel free to put them in the comments down below. But yeah, thanks for the opportunity for sharing my love of hiking. This is pretty comprehensive video right after this one, where I go through all the basics through somewhat advanced stuff. So
Yeah, thank you so much, John.
welcome to John's living room. First things first, I wanted to say thank you for letting me be the first person to make the video for the new YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about hiking. So this is going to be a pretty wide. Can you point the camera that way? There you go. Wide angle. This is going to be a pretty broad category. It's going to cover a whole lot of stuff. As you can see on the table here, I have a lot of things to talk about. You may not need all of these things, and depending upon the hike that you're going to do, you may need some of it, you may need all of it, you may need more. Yeah, this is my entire collection of things. I'm going to start by going through them one by one and giving you a detail of what I like to bring. And if you like the same sort of things, then yeah. As far as footwear goes, I kind of tailor my footwear to the hike that I'm going on. I always take, these are my favorites. I've tried a lot of different kinds of socks. I always use either a wool sock. In this case, these are the Darn Tough. They're actually called hiker socks. They have a lifetime warranty. If they ever wear out, you get another pair, you send them in, and they're actually pretty good about honoring their warranty. I've used synthetic socks, I've used cotton socks, anyway, I've tried a thousand different kinds of socks, but these are the ones I always come back to. They're pretty stink proof. They last hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles before they wear out, and they're pretty darn comfy, and they're pretty good at keeping away the blisters. So those are my go-to socks for pretty much every hike, regardless of weather. As far as the shoes, though, that's an entirely different story. So I started out using the old school hiker boot. It gives you a lot of ankle support. It's really good at keeping the stones out of the bottom of your feet, keeping out the stone bruises. It's got a very aggressive tread. Yeah, so if I'm going on a fairly short hike that's going to take me over a lot of rocks and a lot of rough areas, I might be using those. But to be honest, I like to go with the lighter footwear, so I've kind of switched over to the new school. So old school was the hiking boot. New school is more of the trail running shoes. So these are my Ultra Olympuses. If I'm going to be doing sections of the Appalachian Trail, which are pretty well worn, these have a pretty aggressive tread. You can see they're actually pretty worn out. But yeah, running a new pair of those. But they have a very thick pad on the bottom. So if you're going to be going over a lot of really eroded trails, they have a lot of roots and a lot of rocks, these are still pretty darn comfy and they don't weigh a lot. Now, if you're going to be doing sections of the Benton MacKaye Trail or trails that a lot of people haven't heard of, or actually a lot of people don't use, you can get away with something that's even lighter. Wow, these are really dirty. Anyway, these are Ultras. These are Ultra Superiors 3.5. They don't have a tremendous amount of padding, but again, they do have just like the other two, they have a pretty good stone shield in the bottom, so you don't get a lot of rock bruises in the bottom of your feet. But these are very, very light. Some people like to use waterproof boots. I tend to stay away from waterproof boots or shoes. So Gore-Tex you can spend an awful lot of money on. I don't really see that it's that helpful for me. If you're going to get your feet wet, you want them to dry out pretty quickly. And Gore-Tex, although it is breathable, it's not going to dry out super fast. I'm pretty much a fair weather hiker, which you may be as well. If it's going to be super cold outside, I'm pretty much not going to go hiking. So assuming it's going to be warm weather, my feet are going to get hot at some point and they're going to get sweaty. So I like to have very breathable shoes so that they dry out, especially overnight. Okay, let's talk about backpacks. So with any day hike, if you're going to be going more than a mile or two, you're going to be wanting to carry some supplies with you, whether it's going to be water, first aid, some snacks, anything that you deem is essential for this trip. So you're going to want to get yourself a backpack. It can be everything from, if you're going on a short hike, you can grab somebody's school backpack, a JanSport or something like that. If you're going to be doing a lot, I would recommend getting something similar to this. This is my Osprey Daylight. It's only a 13-liter pack. It doesn't weigh hardly anything, but it's great for carrying everything that I want to take for most of my day hikes. You can even use it for an overnight, depending upon how ultralight you want to be. Some people use these for longer distance hikes. I tend to use this only for a day-long hike. It has 2 pockets on the outside, it has a nice big pocket on the inside. It's got a little pocket up top for the stuff you want to grab quickly, like your snacks and things like that. And if you want to latch something to the outside, like if you carry a chair or if you carry a rain jacket and you want to latch it to the outside, it's got a bungee cord on the outside as well. So if you have bigger things you want to attach to the outside of your bag, you can do that as well. So let's talk about my gear as far as clothing. You'll notice a recurring theme here: everything is synthetic. There's an old saying that goes, cotton kills, and that is because cotton will hold the moisture against you. So if you're cold and wet, you'll get hypothermic, and that's not good for anybody. So everything pretty much that I carry with me is 100% synthetic. So I have a pair of ex officio boxer briefs that are all synthetic. They keep the sweat off of you. They also keep you from chafing, which is a really nice thing. And they last an awfully long time. For the shorts, I'm not sure what these are. These are, North Face. I got these from an REI garage sale. They're also synthetic. They keep the sweat off of you. They dry really fast. You can wash them in a river or in a stream if you want to, although for Leave No Trace, you're not really supposed to do that sort of stuff. But yeah, they keep you dry. If you get rained on, you're not going to be sitting there wet forever. Shirt as well. This one was a Patagonia. I actually got this from the mountain crossings right by Blood Mountain in Georgia here. And this is also another, it's a Capilene. It's another 100% synthetic, so it keeps you cool, keeps you dry. Yeah, it's another one of my go-to shirts. As far as the only other thing that I always take with me on every single hike is my rain jacket. Even if it's not supposed to rain, you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes mountains have little microclimates and you might see a little bit of rain that you're not expecting. I always take it with me because I never want to be cold and wet on the side of a mountain. Okay, let's talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart. It seems like every time I'm out on the trail, the only thing I can think about is the next time I'm going to stop and get something to eat. After a lot of hard miles on the trail, the only thing I seem to think about is food. So let's start with the drinks. So one of my favorites, this is actually a shout out to my friend Srikanth. Slay RX Diesel, it's got your amino acids, it's got your carbs. I throw a couple of scoops of this into my water bottle, and yeah, it makes you feel much better after a hot, sweaty walk through the woods. Keeps you going. It's got some caffeine in it as well. Another one that I usually bring with me, and this is sometimes multi-day, but also bring it for day hiking as well. These are GU drink tabs. Nun is another one, N-U-U-N. These are electrolyte tablets. They, yeah, if you're sweating a lot, you help replace those electrolytes and keep you feeling happy. And the rest of my food, I have kind of the more processed to the least processed out here. So start with the real peanut butter toast cheese sandwich crackers. I like to bring a variety of stuff with me. These ones have got a lot of salt in them. They've got some carbs. They've got some fat. They help keep your energy up. Cliff bars, same sort of thing. They're a little less processed, a little cleaner. They've got, this is, yeah, organic peanut butter and banana, chocolate chunk with sea salt. Both of them have a lot of calories. They've got a lot of salt, a lot of sodium in them. Moving over here, we've got Kate's Real Food. I got peanut butter and dark chocolate cherry and almond. Basically, any kind of bar is going to be helpful to keep your energy up after a long walk in the woods. If I'm going for a really long walk, This has become my favorite. This has become a go-to. I use this as not only as a snack bar every couple miles, also as a meal replacement bar. I want to say this thing has like 600 calories in it. Yep. There's 3 servings per container at 200 calories a piece, so there's indeed 600 calories in there. So I found these at the mountain crossings at Neal's Gap on the Appalachian Trail, and I believe it is the only place in Georgia that sells these, but you can go to the Big Sur website and get these things, and well worth the expense, including the shipping. I think they're like $4 or $5 a crack, but they're fantastic. If you don't like to go with the bars, some of the other things I brought out there before, these are Georgia pecans, and sometimes I make my own blend of pecans, chocolate chips, any sort of stuff out there that's going to give you some protein and some fat and keep your energy level up when you're out on the trail. Okay, let's talk about the stuff that's nice to have, but you don't necessarily need to have out on the trail. This is kind of my comfort section, the things that I like to bring. Hiking poles. I find that they really help me out, especially if you're on a really technical trail. They saved my neck a couple times, and they last an awfully long time. Not super expensive. I would advise you get the fancier ones, the carbon ones or the lighter weight ones, because after a long walk in the woods, you don't really want to be carrying along the extra weight. These things don't weigh very much. I got these from REI at their garage sale. Also, I use this to keep my part of my first aid kit. So this stuff on here is called Leukotape. It's great for blisters, it's great for patching things, and I always carry it with me. Actually, I put it on both of my poles. Another nice to have, battery pack. Just in case you forget to turn your phone on airplane mode and you happen to find that your battery has gone dead, always nice to have something to charge up your battery. A sit pad. They do make these in things that are specifically designed to sit on. This is actually a piece of a Thermarest ridge rest that I cut up. So they actually sell this in a full-length section that's designed to be slept on, but I found that it was super uncomfortable and cut it up into little pieces, and I find it's fantastic to sit on. I think the one that's the sit pad is called a Z-Lite or something like that. Not super expensive, but nice to have. It's a lot better than sitting on a rock or sitting on a log. And when it's cold outside, it's got a reflective mylar layer on it that keeps you a little bit warmer than the ground. Other things I like to bring with me, Body Glide. It's anti-chafe. Doesn't weigh very much. Nice to have. Nothing like walking through the woods when your legs are chafing to make your day miserable. So I always carry this one with me. The other one, bug spray. Depending upon the season and the area you're going to be hiking in, this may be a nice to have. It may be a must have. Also, this keeps the ticks off of you. So at the very least, I spray this around my ankles to keep the ticks off of me. And sometimes I feel like I'm bathing in this stuff when the mosquitoes are pretty bad. We've covered an awful lot of things, but these are the things that I would say to pay the most attention to. This is the absolutely must-have. At the very least, I would carry maybe not all of this stuff, but probably most of these things. Anytime you go on a hike, if you're going to be more than a mile or two from the car, these are pretty much all necessities. So the first one I was going to talk about is a map. So I have Appalachian Trail map, I have Benton MacKaye maps, I have all sorts of different maps in here. Whether it's going to be one that you're going to go to the store and buy, or whether you're going to print something off of the internet, you always want to know where you're going. You're going to want to know where your water stops are. You're going to want to know where the next trailhead is. If you get in trouble, you want to be able to tell people where you're going to be or where you are. So always know where you're going. Always know where your outs are should there be a problem. And I always say carry a compass. Don't rely on your phone. Sometimes you're going to be in an area where you don't know where you are and your phone's not going to work and your GPS is not going to be there to help you out. So carry a map, carry a compass, know how to use them. Moving on, first aid kit. I tend to go pretty light on the first aid kits. I'm not an EMT, I'm not a doctor. Beyond a couple alcohol wipes, some Band-Aids, maybe some bandages, some cotton gauze, and treatment for bug bites. I'm not super adept in first aid, so I carry pretty light. If you are, I mean, they sell all sorts of different first aid kits. If you know how to use them, they may be helpful for you. But I find that this is about the limit of my EMT ability. So I carry this one with me. It goes with me pretty much everywhere I go. I have had to refill some of the things in there, like the ibuprofen does expire, so also check out your first aid kit. The antacids do expire, so I've had to replace those. But yeah, it goes with me everywhere I go. Other things, just in case you get caught out in the middle of nowhere and you get injured, you're always going to want to have some way to keep you warm or some sort of shelter. So I bring a Coleman emergency blanket in the summertime. In the wintertime, I bring one of these guys. This is an emergency bivvy. It works like a mummy sleeping bag. It covers your entire body. The only thing that sticks out is your face. And if you're caught out in the middle of nowhere, this will keep you alive if you have to spend the night in the woods. So always take this stuff with you. Other things, the ability to collect and filter water. If you're going to go more than a few miles, I would say this is an absolute necessity. And it's pretty simple. These are only like 20, 30 bucks, the water filter. This one happens to be a Sawyer Squeeze. They do make a Sawyer Mini that's a little smaller and a little lighter than this one. I prefer this one because the water goes through a little faster. They also make a Sawyer Micro, which I can't recommend because I've heard a lot of people have problems with it. And you're also going to need a catch bag. Now when you buy one of these Sawyers, they do come with catch bags. I prefer this one. It's made by CNOC. It's called Knock, I think is how you pronounce it. But it works a little bit differently. So it's got the open-ended bottle. So if you don't have the perfect waterfall to catch water and you're having to catch water coming across the ground and you have to scoop it up, you can scoop the water into there, flip this guy down. There we go. It works a lot better when the bag is wet. So say you have a full bag of water, you're going to take your cap off. Put your filter on there, and you can squeeze that into your water bottle. And my dog just fell off the couch. Hope he's okay. Other things, always bring some sort of way to make fire, just in case. If you get cold, it's always nice to be able to dry yourself off. If you fall into a stream, fall into a river, and you need to dry off your clothes. There's a zillion different, that's not one of them, a zillion different ways to make fire. This one's a magnesium bar, so you can scratch little chunks of magnesium off, and then a flint rod, so you can make sparks. This one's same sort of thing. It doesn't have the magnesium bar, but it's got a bar with a striker on it. This one is just a big bar of, to strike to make fire. This one's a fancier one. It's got a striker on one side. There's a little striker. And then the rod is over here. There's all sorts of different variations on a theme, but I gotta tell you, the one that I'd probably bring with me 95% of the time is this one. The $1.99 one that you can pick up at a gas station or a dollar store. It works almost every time. Even if you can't get it to light, you'll still be able to make sparks when the thing is wet. Carry this one with you everywhere, just in case you need it. Hopefully you never need to make a fire on a day hike, but just in case you need it, it's always there. Flashlight. I tend to carry headlights with me. I do a lot of overnight hikes, and when you're trying to put your tent up in the dark, or if you're trying to do anything in the dark, it's a lot easier when you have use of your hands, so I tend to use headlights. You can bring flashlights with you. I'd always say bring some source of light with you. Don't rely on your cell phone just in case you accidentally kill your cell phone battery when you forget to put it on airplane mode, because I've done that. Bring some sort of flashlight. They don't weigh much. Always nice to have just in case you need it. Other thing, this is kind of funny to talk about, but you got to take it with you. Toilet paper. In the woods, you never know when nature's going to call, and you don't want to be using leaves of various unknown types of plants. So always bring toilet paper with you. Quick note on using the toilet paper: make sure you're at least 200 feet off the trail and 200 yards from a water source, and buried at least 8 inches deep. You don't necessarily have to bring one of those trowels with you, but do at least dig a hole in the ground that's about 8 inches deep, and do your best to cover it up so you don't leave a trace, so nobody knows that you had to use the bathroom in the woods. Enough on that one. The other thing I bring with me all the time, is a bandana. You can use it for all sorts of different things. You can use it to wash yourself if you find a nice stream that you want to use to wash yourself in, to wipe the sweat off your brow. Heaven forbid you had to use it for a tourniquet, you could use it for that, but I find 1,001 uses for this thing, whether it's wiping my hands off after I've eaten my lunch or wiping the sweat off my head. But yeah, take one of these with me everywhere I go. A pocket knife. Some trips it never gets used at all. Other times I've used it to cut a piece of tape when I accidentally put one of my tent poles through my tent and had to seal up a hole to keep the rain out. But it's always good to have one of these. You could use it to cut your paracord or whatever, and if worst comes to worst, you could use it to make a fire or to make an emergency seltzer. The other thing that I was going to say is always bring extra food with you. Just in case you get caught out there and you can't make it back in time, you get caught too far away from the car, you're hungry. The other thing is it's always nice to be able to share with your friends. So always bring extra food. Talk a little bit about water bottles. There's a couple different schools of thought. Smart water bottle or something similar, or an Nalgene bottle. I used to always go with the Nalgene bottle. It's durable, it'll last forever. It's also pretty heavy. And if you're going to be on a long trek, I try to eliminate as much weight as I can. So I've kind of gone almost exclusively to a smart water bottle or something very similar. Good thing about a smart water bottle also is if you're going to go on a long hike, a multi-day hike, and you need a water filter, thank you, my assistant. The water bottle will also fit your water filter on it. So if you want to use this as your catch bottle and drink straight out of your water filter, you can catch your water in your bottle and put your filter right on top. The threads will fit. Always bring more water on the trail than you're going to need, just like anytime you go out there. Bring more food than you think you're going to need, and bring more clothes than you think you're going to need, just in case. Thank you for joining me and going through my hiking gear list. Most importantly, you don't necessarily have to bring all this stuff with you. It's up to you what you want to bring with you, but most importantly, get out there and do it. Go see what the top of Blood Mountain looks like. Go see what the top of Tray Mountain looks like. Go see what Panther Falls look like. Just get out there and try it. You'll find that there's a ton of people out on the trail and a ton of people that also are out there sometimes trying it for the first time as well. So get out there and have some fun. Thanks. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.